Okay, let's run.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to And I Quote. This is the weekly show where we introduce you to some of the best indie creators from all over the world, and we find out more about them by taking your questions. I am your host, Ryan of And I Quote channel, and our guest on this episode is someone who gives new meaning to the word adventure fiction writing. Is that not word? It's not one word. It's three words, but whatever. Jive with me here. So please welcome the co-host and producer of the Men's Adventure Fiction podcast, indie writer, and just a big fan of this magical word we all know and love as adventure. Luke Goodish is in the building. Hello, Luke. Good to see you.
How you doing? Good to see you. Love the intro. The Nicolas Cage gets me fired up. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's from a criminally underrated film known as Gone in 60 Seconds, which, by the way, that movie turns 25 this year. Did you know that?
I did not. Are you going to do an episode for it?
Yes, we have to, because it's one of my favorite movies, and it's probably my favorite Nick Cage movie, to be honest.
Awesome.
It probably is. So don't be surprised. If you want to have a seat at the table with us, Luke, if you're a big fan of that movie, you're more than welcome to sit at the table.
Yeah, love me some Nicolas Cage. I would always be down to talk about Nicolas Cage.
Nick Cage, man, it's good stuff. And we thank you who may be watching or listening to this right now for being with us. Do not forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. If you're watching this live or what is known as a replay, thank you so much for doing so. Now, if you have any questions for Luke, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat. Be more than happy to take those as they come in with that piece of business. And apparently, I didn't know Luke was a big fan of Gone in 60 Seconds. But hey, more power to him. It makes we're some pretty cool here. So with that being said, what were some of your favorite books or writers growing up, Luke?
So growing up, there were two books that stuck out to me and I read and actually enjoyed. And that was Hatchet by Gary Paulson and the Contender series by Robert Lipsyte. Both of those are kind of like young adult books that were brought up during school, and in school, I was a terrible student and I never read the assigned readings except for those times. Those books really got me into men's adventure fiction and reading, but only for that certain time. And I left reading behind for a while because, like I said, bad student, wasn't really into that, kind of a lazy guy, and didn't pick reading back up until my undergrad years. And I started with First Blood, and that's the book that really ignited my obsession with reading. And now that I have way more books than a normal person should have, it all stemmed from First Blood. So those three, I'd say, did it for me. Gary Paulson's Hatchet, The Contender by Robert Lipsyte, and First Blood by David Morrell. That's
good picks. Good picks. I haven't read two of the three, but I remember reading Hatchet. Gary Paulson. Yeah. That's a throwback, man. That's going back to when I was like elementary or middle school.
That's when I read it too. It was like fifth grade maybe, and we were told to read Hatchet. And again, I was thinking, assigned reading, I'm not going to read that. But then I think the teacher started to read it before we left for break, and it was the plane going down, and he has to survive in the woods. I was like, this is incredible. I want to see what happens. So that was one of the only times as a kid I read a book, and I was fully invested.
Really good stuff. By the way, Terrence Lahue is in the building. He says, two pros sharing the stage. Peace sign. What's up, Terrence?
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, good to see him. And please feel free to check out his podcast, the Suit Up podcast. He's doing a great job of it. He really wears ridiculously. I don't know if you've seen his suits or not, Luke.
Yeah.
But the array of suits that this man owns, and he's only 21 years of age, which is crazy, is awesome. And he makes it look so easy to wear those suits. I mean, honestly. And Terrence, I'm surprised they didn't pick you up as a cast member for Suits LA, which is airing on NBC right now, brother. You should have been a supporting cast member of that.
And also pick up One Man Treasure.
Yeah.
Terrence Lahue, great author too. And The Sickest Suits. So you can't go wrong with Terrence.
No, you can't. So you can follow him. Check out the Suit Up podcast on YouTube, and then on Amazon, look up One Man's Treasure. Great stuff going on there. So absolutely. So, and we do our best to support other indie creators out there, and Terrence just happens to be one of them. Terrence was on with us not too long ago, and then he was on an episode of The Meaning of Fandom where he talked about his love of Godzilla, which is kaiju, with gods, which you would never think that Terrence, who wears $5,000 suits, actually likes Godzilla. I never would have guessed that. Never. But hey, More power to you, Terrence. He has a question for you, Luke. What's your favorite Rambo film of the 5?
Yeah, I love them all so much, but I still feel like you have to go with First Blood because it's one of my favorite movies in general, and it has my favorite 10-minute span in any movie, period. And it's like the 10 minutes where it's storming and Rambo is showing the cops that he could take them out if he wanted to, and there's the traps happening, him like putting that guy up against the tree. That's my favorite 10 minutes of film, period. So I have to go with the first one. But outside of that, because that's like the easy, simple answer, I I really like the fourth one. Just Rambo. I really like just the change of pace that it was because 2 and 3 kind of have a similar vibe. You know, the super 80s action, shirtless, bandana. He still has the bandana in the third one, but the fourth one. He's leaving the shirt on though, and ripping dudes' throats out, and like it's just so much more over the top violent. It seems like a Sam Peckinpah movie, and I really enjoy Sam Peckinpah. So Sam Peckinpah making a Rambo, even though he didn't, it's as close as we would get to that, and I dug it.
Right. Live for nothing or die for something, which is
Yeah,
what he utters in Rambo 4, which is that's this. I know it's called Rambo, but AK, just to keep everyone in line, it
yeah,
is
Rambo
Rambo
4.
4 in case anyone's wondering, because there's 5 of them. There's one for each day of the week.
Yeah,
Terrence says, "Thanks, guys. I'm blushing over here." Oh,
you earned these compliments by being a stud.
it's all good, Terrence. Don't worry about it, brother. We love you. It's all good. So you mentioned something about First Blood being your favorite of the Rambo movies. What would you say were some of your favorite TV series growing up, or maybe even some of your favorite movies outside of Rambo?
Yeah. Again, going with Stallone, I think Rocky was my biggest obsession as a kid. I could not stop watching Rocky, and he changed my life the most because I was born with this this like congenital heart defect, and sports were out for a lot of my life, and I was just not. I looked at him on the screen. And I was like, "That's not me. That's never going to be me." But then the messages of that film, of like, even if the world's telling you otherwise, you can be the hero in your story. You can do more. Like those movies really pushed me as a person to see what I could do for myself. How could I push my own limits, and what could I achieve? Even though doctors or people in my life were saying it wasn't possible, and that inspired me to start boxing eventually. And I boxed from like eighth grade ish till now. I still box. My relationship with boxing has changed. I used to be able to spar and do everything, but the further my heart conditions developed, I've been on such blood thinners, I'm not allowed to get hit in boxing anymore. But Rambo, yes. Rocky, even more so for me. Rocky is my number one as a kid for sure.
Okay, all right, good stuff. I mean, for me personally, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think First Blood is great.
Mhm.
But of the thing, and here's the thing though, I really like Rambo First Blood Part 2. I
Yeah,
really like that movie, but I also really like Rambo Last Blood. I
I
actually
like that
like
one too.
the finale was really good. Like the action served a purpose. The story had a beginning, middle, and end. I thought it wrapped up, at least in my opinion,
Hmm.
the Rambo series quite well. A lot of people didn't like it, but I liked it personally. So my favorite like movies would probably be, if I had to rank them, it'd probably be First Blood, if not Rambo First Blood Part 2. Rambo, like First Blood and Rambo First Blood are kind of like neck and neck for me a little bit,
Yeah,
but slightly Rambo First Blood Part 2, and then First Blood, and then what is it? Rambo Last Blood, and then I guess Rambo 3. Rambo 4 was just a little too violent for me, to be perfectly
yeah,
honest with you,
fair
but a
enough.
little too much blood and gore for me. I'm sorry, but and then like I said, Rambo 3 would be 4, and then what did I say? Rambo 4 would be last, and then
Yeah.
Rambo 3 would be number 4. So that's how I rank them. But hey, that's probably going to cause a major stir in the comments for sure. But by the way, did you know that Rambo First Blood Part 2 turns 40
I
this
did
year?
not know that.
Yeah, turns 40. We may be
That's
doing a watch
amazing.
along for that. I don't know if it's on the schedule or not,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen. But if it's not, we have to make an exception because Luke over here likes the Rambo movies for different reasons. So we
Yeah.
should do a Rambo First Blood Part 2 watch along with Luke. Maybe I don't know, Terrence. Did you want in on that? Maybe we can get Nathaniel in on this too.
That'd be sweet. Yeah.
So
I was talking to him. I don't think he's seen all of them yet, the Rambo. So
okay,
we'll have to get him caught up.
yeah.
Maybe live.
Hmm.
Have you read the novelizations of 2 and 3 by David Morrell?
No, I have not. I've never read any of the First Blood
Okay.
books, so I got to get on that.
Yeah, the first book, like I said, favorite novel of all time for me. But they
Novelizations.
they made novelizations for 2 and 3, and those
Hmm.
are both also just amazing books. He's a phenomenal writer, David Morrell. Doesn't get enough credit, I think, but because he jumped genres so much that he never like
Oh,
got
we
to be
did.
the thriller guy, or he would do like a thriller and then he would do a horror and then he would do a historical fiction. So he was jumping around a lot.
Wow, I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
Learning new things every day in this role. Once again, this is And I Quote with the guest of honor, Luke Goodish on this episode. Do not forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. If you're joining this live or what is known as a replay, thank you for doing that. If you have any questions or comments for how ridiculously good-looking Terrence Lehue or Luke look in their suits or their outfits or their cosplay, whatever it is, or questions, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. And by the way, how would you, who may be listening or watching this, rank the Rambo movies? There's 5 of them.
Yeah.
Let's not forget. So let us know in the comments. How would you rank them between, from 1 to 5? How do you put them down? Where does it rank for you? I gave you my top 5 listed, but let's see how the next person maybe chimes in with that. So with that being said, what made you decide to become a writer?
So I think that's just one of those things that was, I don't know, I was born with that desire, I guess, because I can remember as early as when I would be playing in my house with my family, and having like the Superman suit on type of thing. I would be kind of intentionally trying to build a story like a lot of kids. And I just grew up more obsessed with like wanting to know the story of the actions I was playing out and like how this playtime was going to go. I needed to see the arc. And so I started putting these stories on paper and like making my own little comics and stuff. And then I met Casey, who now I do Veritas with, that does our short films, feature films, and the books. I met Casey in 3rd grade, and every single weekend we were making a movie and, writing it during the week, during school when we were supposed to be paying attention, writing it in class probably, and then going to shoot it in the weekend. So ever since at least 3rd grade, I've been putting words on the page and then trying to make them a reality over the weekend. So I guess I've just always had it. I don't know why or where it comes from, but storytelling and seeing like heroes' journeys has always been a huge fascination for me.
Wow, I can barely count on one hand the amount of people I'm still friends with from the 3rd grade, man. That's a long time. I didn't you've known Casey for that long. And by the way, Casey, I followed you on Instagram, so we're cool. It's cool. And if you ever want to be on the show or talk shop with us, let us know. You can, send me a DM, drop us a message, drop us a line. Love to have you on the show, Casey, because I saw Casey on your Instagram live the other night. That was fun. That was cool. You guys are just chilling in those chairs, just like spitballing and doing the giveaway for Fire in the Tall Grass and Vipers and Red Rocks, if I'm not mistaken, which we'll talk more about a little bit here later. So kudos, man. You've known since 3rd grade. I don't hear that very often. Not many people have told me on this show or any other show that I've done, oh yeah, I've known this guy or I've known this woman since 3rd grade. I'm like, what?
I know, it's wild. We were just saying that the other day. Like, we're really grateful and lucky that we have kept this friendship going, because it's not super easy to do that. It was very easy to like lose touch with people. It's much easier to lose touch or have a falling out. And we definitely had that in high school. We kind of grew 2 separate ways. We had 2 different personality sets. He was like a skater guy and had all these cool friends, and I was kind of on this other like pseudo frat guy thing where I would wear like suits to school, and we had 2 separate guys trying to find our identities, and then luckily came back together after high school and kept in touch ever since and still hang out all the time. So there was a brief period, and it's easy to just let those go and not rekindle friendships. And if you do have the ability to keep friends with somebody, be grateful, because that's friendship's super, super important. Isolation is more and more a part of today's society, and a lot of guys struggle to find friends. And that's why I love the Discord and like the community we're building too. It's just giving people more friendships and more people to talk to and kind of commune with over a genre we love so much.
Very true, man. I feel like you're running for office. I'd vote for you. But it's not that he's not doing that, folks. But just to give you an idea, Luke's one of the kindest, coolest dudes we've met here on the show, outside of the show too. For those of you who are not familiar with it, it's called the Men's Adventure Fiction Discord, which we'll talk more about here in a minute. But yeah, ever since I joined that, like, it's more active than most Discords that I'm in, if not all of them. I mean, someone is constantly chiming in, sharing thoughts, feelings, opinions, or saying, what do you think about this idea for a story? What do you think about this for an idea for a piece of marketing material, right? Because marketing is very important in whatever industry that you're in. So, by the way, all the different threads that are in that Discord, some of them I don't understand, but some of them I quite do. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what, we signed up for this, so just buckle your seatbelts, folks. It's going to be one heck of a wild ride. But before we get too far ahead of the curve here, what would you say are some of the biggest rewards about being a writer?
I think honestly, lately it's happened more and more because my writing has evolved to a point where this comment makes more sense. Is I've had people comment saying like they've read this book with their kid or they're gonna share the book with their kid. I think that's the biggest compliment because it goes back to that first thing like one of the earlier things we were talking about with Hatchet and the Contender. It's like kids books versions of men's adventure fiction are super important to me. Like these gateways into the genre are super important to me because kids are not reading as much. I mean, no one's reading as much these days, but kids have a lot of other distractions and things that are, way easier to do and suck the time away. But to get them into a book like Gary Paulson's Hatchet or Contender and kind of send them down a lifelong journey of reading and developing and becoming a better version of themselves, that's super important to me. I'm a counselor in my life, like that's my job. And so I love seeing people progress into a better version of themselves. And I think reading has so much to do with that. Like it's such a self-development tool as well. Even if you're reading men's adventure fiction, you think it's not, I think that it is. I would make that argument. So getting someone invested in reading at a young age is one of my bigger passions. Now that I have kids, really care about getting kids to read and be a part of this world as well. So having people say, I'm going to share your book with my son, or I have read the book with my son and we have all these memories together. That's like the biggest compliment I could ever get. So that is the biggest reward.
So in other words, it's fair to say what we were taught many years ago, you, me, and a bunch of others out there. All we got to do is take a look. It's in a book.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
You commented that. Yep. That was a great.
It's all you got to do is take a look at it. Sam Whitfield's in the building. He says, hey, everybody.
Yeah.
What's up, Sam?
How you doing, buddy? Also a member of the Discord.
Yes, he is. Sam, good to see you, man. We hope to get you on one of these shows in the future as well. Talk about some of the things you're doing or wonderful things you got going on. So flip side of the coin, though, biggest challenges about being a writer.
Well, I think the day-to-day, it's just trying to figure out when. Because, for most of us, a lot of us, it's not the full-time gig. I got a life. I've got another job. I've got obligations. So it's like, when can I fit this in and try to find time to do this? Because I find it important to take time to do these personal quests or whatever, going on your own hero's journey, taking time for yourself to write that book you've always wanted to write. I think that's important, but it's not easy, and it becomes increasingly difficult. I have 2 kids now. I've got the full-time job. You want to make time for your wife. Like all this stuff happens. And so sometimes I have to wake up at 4:30 if I want to get my writing in, or I have to fit in 15-minute increments between sessions and things like that. So I think the hardest part is just like time management nightmare. That you deal with that as well with everything you've got going on.
Yeah, that's true. It's not easy working 9 to 5 in the middle of the night when everyone's sleeping. I'm working. So when you're getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm still at work, or I'm finishing up my work and I'm getting ready to pack my stuff and go back home and just bury myself in the bed because I'm so tired, bro. But, but hey, before I do all that, I come home, I check my emails, my messages, do my marketing for my podcast, have a bite to eat, which in my case is Lego My Eggo waffles dipped in syrup, ice cold milk to wash it down with. Hashtag that as part of a complete breakfast. And by the way, Eggo waffles are not a sponsor of this program, but if they want to be, call me maybe, and then we can talk later. So, because waffles are so freaking good, man. Honestly, I can't get it out. The buttermilk flavored ones,
Eggo,
they're really good.
Yeah. My son had that this morning.
Really?
Yep.
Hey, more power. See, you're doing this parenting 101. You're doing it right. More power to you. Swordsman 007. What up, homies? What's up, man? How you doing?
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, he's another member of our Discord, isn't he?
Another member, yep.
Yeah, Agent 007. May I remind you, 007, that you have a license to read, not to break the traffic laws. I wouldn't think of it. Good. Sorry, that's a inverted line from GoldenEye, which turns 30 later this year. By the way, we are going to be doing a watch along for that. Terrence, I think you were one of the first people I told that to about. Terrence was, I think, excuse me for saying this, Terrence, but I think he was foaming at the mouth to be on the round table for that. So I don't know. Terrence, if you still want to be on that show later on in the year, I think it's in the summer, I want to say. I think we're planning it towards, is it June? It might be somewhere in the summer or towards the fall. I can't remember. I got to double check the schedule. But Terrence, Luke, whoever else is a Bond fan, we'll do our best to set up shop. We'll get some people on set for that. Sam Whitfield says, as am I. Yeah, I know you're a Bond. We're all, I think I can speak for most of us in that Discord where I say we're Bond fans to a certain degree.
Yeah.
So I think Terrence is probably one of the bigger ones I've seen. I mean, geez, that guy dresses up like James Bond every single day.
Yeah, man. It's going to be a good episode. GoldenEye, possibly the best Bond ever. I'm seeing that more and more. That is my favorite Bond. I love it so much. I never even played the game. I know a lot of people love the game. I've never even played it, but the movie is just as good. I love the movie.
I went over to my friend's house because we didn't have an N64 in my house. So I just ran over to his at the end of the block, and I was like, "Dude, let's play some GoldenEye. Let's go." So
I always played Nightfire. Did you ever play that one?
I did play Nightfire.
Cool.
Unfortunately, I never beat the game.
Me neither. It's so hard.
It's brutal.
I had that cheat code to like get to the levels, where you could see all the levels. And I remember going to the last level in space, and I was like, I can't make it 5 minutes without getting just like beamed out into the gravity. And I'm just this is so hard.
It's a rip-off. It's very tough to beat that game. And not only that, I feel like why would they put us in outer? I know it's part of the storyline within the game, but at the same time, you're ripping off Moonraker. I don't want to be in a Moonraker movie.
Of all movies.
Moonraker. By the way, what happened to Drax? He had to fly. As Roger Moore said later on in that movie. Terrence says 100% accurate to find time. Luke, do you have a preferred time of day or night? Would you like to write if you can?
I would much prefer morning because I'm much more of a morning person. I was telling you before we started, I try to go to bed around 9 every night. Before I had kids, it was like 8 o'clock. I'd be in bed and then be up at 5. So I'd much prefer the morning, but a lot of the times it turns out that I'll put the kids to bed and then have to do it at night. So I'll take what I can get, but much prefer the morning.
Oh, fair enough. Some people write in the morning, some people write in the nights, evenings, whatever it might be. Swordsman 007 says, I'm sorry I couldn't make it for the Hunt for Red October show the other night. It's okay, man. I had my good friend Ryan, the Real Deal Regan, on set with me, so it's cool. Nice. He and I did it together, so I wasn't by myself, Swordsman 007, so don't worry about it. Terrence says, yes, I'm so on board for that GoldenEye watch. Why wouldn't you be, Terrence? Why wouldn't you be? That's like water not being wet. Honestly, if you don't do it, something's wrong with you. Sam Whitfield says pre-production on GoldenEye finished the week after I was born. I'm not saying I was responsible for Pierce Brosnan's success, but it is possible. And then I'm also saying I'm not. So, okay, fair enough.
Pierce Brosnan owes you something, man.
He does. He does. And then Terrence says wearing suits is an occupational hazard. Okay.
Beautiful.
You want to keep it that way? Fine. Sam Whitfield says From Russia with Love, starring Sean Connery, is an underrated game.
True.
That was a good video game too.
It was a cool game. And
Sean came back to voice James Bond for that, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. Oh, it's the one I always forget exists. I think of like Agent Under Fire and Nightfire and GoldenEye, but then I forget. Hey, there was that. There's also a Craig one. I don't think I've ever played, but there is like a Daniel Craig video game, I believe. I think
there's 2 of them. There's Quantum of Solace and 007 Legends.
Yeah, you're right. There definitely is. Yeah, I had Quantum of Solace on PlayStation 2 or something. Never played it. But
I played it. It was fun.
It's fun.
I liked it. I mean, granted, I'm a sucker for anything Bond anyway, but I liked that. But I had a bit of creative issues with 007 Legends. That was a bit because you're playing 6 different iterations, like 4 or 5 different iterations of Bond and 5 different levels that are named after the movies that the other actors have starred in.
Yeah,
it was just a little too. What do you call it? It was like it was a confusing, convoluted jigsaw puzzle for me. But Quantum of Solace was fun, and 007 Agent Under Fire was lit.
Yeah, sweet.
Nightfire was something else. It's funny though because I had the likeness of Pierce Brosnan in all those games, but Pierce never voiced him until 007 Everything or Nothing for Xbox and PlayStation 2. If you've never seen that game, the storyline in that game could have easily been adapted into a James Bond movie because you had Willem Dafoe as the bad guy.
Dude.
You had Heidi Klum as the henchwoman, like a Xena Onatopp type thing.
Yeah.
That's right. Heidi Klum, fellas. The model Heidi Klum, okay? Wow. This is Project Runway Heidi Klum we're talking about here. So, and then who else was in that movie? Or not the movie, 007 Everything. Shannon Elizabeth, Nadia from American Pie.
Dude, nice. I love Nadia.
Well, she was a Bond girl in the game.
That's amazing. I gotta seek this game out. I don't think I've played that one. I think I remember vividly seeing the cover for that one, but I never played it. Was it only on what console did you say that was?
No, I think it was on both. I think it was on X. It may have been on Xbox and PlayStation 2 back in the day. Cool. So look it up. Look up the walkthrough, like the people who post their footage. Like you're basically watching someone play the game.
Right.
Watch the walkthrough or the cinematics, the cut scenes. They're really good. They're really good.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and the theme song 007 Everything or Nothing was sung by an artist named Mia.
Okay.
That's her name, just Mia, M-I-A.
Yeah.
Check it out. It's a good song. I never heard of the artist before it, but
Paper Planes, I think, is a song I've heard from her because it was in the trailer for Pineapple Express, funny enough. I don't know why I remember that, but it was like the trailer song for Pineapple Express.
I didn't mean to hit you, man. Shut the heck up. That's Craig Robinson, whatever his name is. Sorry, we're going way off the base here. Let's see. Swordsman 007 says from Russia with Love. PS2 game was lit.
Absolutely.
Sam Whitfield says EA, which is Electronic Arts, hasn't put out a good game overall since the PS2 era from when we were kids. Wow, that's a bold statement. GoldenEye was voiced by Daniel Craig and M was voiced by Judi Dench at the time. Okay.
Well, look at that.
Thanks for telling us that, Swordsman 007. Then Sam Whitfield goes on to say, everyone forgets that Heidi Klum was a Bond girl. Yes, it was a PS2 game, Luke.
Sweet. All right, because that's what I had. So I have no excuse to have not played that, is what I'm thinking.
Okay, well, you can probably find it on eBay for like $5, the video game or whatever. I mean, if you wanted to play it and have a console,
We'll see.
you'd probably find it. But once again, we are here with Luke Goodish on this episode of And I Quote. Do not forget to like and share this with every single one of your friends and Bond fans. And if you're watching us live or on the replay, thank you for doing that. If you have any questions for him, let us know in the comments, let us know in the chat. And Terrence Leahy says, hearing people talk about the James Bond video games makes me wish I was more of a video game guy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's never too late, man. You can go back and watch the walkthroughs on YouTube.
And you can play it while wearing a suit.
That is true.
So,
I forgot to tell you that. Yeah. So, Terrence, if you want to go back and play the games, just wear a suit while you're playing it.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know how your missus is going to feel about watching you play video games in a suit, but hey, if she's cool with it, then more power to everybody. Gee willikers. So with let's see. Terrence says, will it be 007 or Indiana Jones in the Golden Circle, which lures me back into the video game world? Great question. I've heard great things about the new Indiana Jones game.
Yeah.
The graphics look pretty good. The voice actor sounds pretty much exactly like Harrison Ford. So, which, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, Troy Baker is the voice of Indiana Jones in the Golden Circle. So, yeah, he's done a great job. I haven't played the game though, so can't tell.
I've seen someone play it. I have not played it. Same as Terrence. Like I wish I was more of a video game guy because they have such like Uncharted. Nathaniel wants me to play Uncharted so bad. I played like 2 or 3 levels, but I just can't. Again, we're back to the time management thing. I got to write my books. I got to go to work. I got so much stuff to do. I can't figure out when to play enough video games. Because Red Dead Redemption is my personal favorite video game. And when I played that in high school, or maybe even middle school, when I played that Red Dead Redemption with John, like John Marston as your main character, I was obsessed with that game and played it through. And I was like, this is the best. And so when 2 came out, I was like, here we go. And I still never finished it to this day because there's just not enough time.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I've not finished
Understandable. You know what they say, right? So much to do and so little time.
I know.
I learned that back in 89's Batman when Joker was talking to his friend Bob and he got the pictures. So much to do and so little time. Photos. Sorry, that's just a great movie. Sam Whitfield says, rumor has it that Terrence Leahy sleeps in a full suit every night.
Yeah, as well.
I don't know. Terrence, you want to answer Sam Whitfield's question or statement? I don't know. And then he says, like Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, dude, suit jammas. He's got them. I know it. And if you don't have suit jammas, I'm sending you suit jammas.
Okay, I don't have any. So if anyone wants to send me some, let me know. I'll give you the address.
I got some for my sister's wedding, like their bachelor party. That was like their gifts. They gave like suit jammas to the guys.
Are you serious?
So I got them. Yeah, it was cool.
Get out of town.
It's like silk. The only issue is like I think that I don't know where they got them, probably Amazon or something. And the sizes were just absolutely enormous. Like they were huge on me, and I was like, "This is not Barney Stinson." I'm just like swimming in this thing. So if I wanted to get my suit jammas tailored, maybe, but I don't think so. Not gonna happen.
Okay. One thing can happen, maybe the other can't. Swordsman 007 says, "You guys are making me feel so old. I was in grad school when the PS2 dropped in the early 2000s." Sorry, Swordsman. I'm so sorry, but some of us are young, some of us are not so young. Jared Jenkins says, "Did they come with the Scrooge sleeping hat?"
No, that's for Marshall Erickson. He's got the Scrooge look going on. The suit jammas totally different.
Thank you. I wasn't sure. Hello, Uncle Scrooge. I'm so sorry. I grew up watching DuckTales: Treasure of the Lost Lamp. Have you ever seen that movie?
I don't think so.
Dude, go on Disney Plus and watch that. It's basically a huge wink and a nod to Indiana Jones.
Oh, really?
It's an Indiana Jones type movie. It's so much fun.
I'll check it out.
And by the way, when you look at the thumbnail for the movie on Disney Plus, hashtag not sponsor of this show, the thumbnail, the font that they use for DuckTales and the Treasure of the Lost Lamp is almost exactly like the stuff they use for Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Nice. All right, so that movie knows what it's doing. I'll check it out.
It's on there. It's a property of Disney, of course. So check out it because it's part of the DuckTales, universe and all that
Right.
stuff. Did you watch reruns of DuckTales when you were younger?
No, I never really watched DuckTales. No.
Oh
Sorry.
man, you missed out on the Duck phase.
I did.
For show. Swordsman says, "Yo, Jared, what up?" And then he also says DuckTales FTW, which stands for the win. Yes, I
All
grew
right.
up on.
Got some
Ter-
DuckTales to catch
Yep.
up on.
Terrence Leahy says, "Luke, that's awesome that you got those pajamas and whatnot.
Yeah.
Of course, of those wedding situations." Sam Whitfield says, "Also, Ryan, would love to have you on my podcast to talk everything from books to podcasts and movies." Sam, in the words of our good friends at Futurama, shut up and take my money. Let's go. Do it. Send me a message on DM or DM on Instagram. Send me a message in the Discord. We'll talk shop. I'll send you the link where you can send it to be on my show or send me the link. If you have like a Calendly type thing, or I can send it to be on your show, let me know. And then Terrence Leahy says, suit jamas need maneuverability for activity.
True.
That rhymes, Terrence. Are you a poet, Terrence? Because you did write a book about romance, didn't you? Yeah, you did. Yeah, he did. He did write a book about romance. Terrence, congrats on that. I didn't know that you had that side of you. I think we discussed that on the show too. I'm sorry, my mind is just a little fizzled. Not fizzled, but I'm just so focused on how great Luke is. Because it's Luke Goodish Appreciation Day here at And I Quote channel. By the way, what advice would you give to aspiring writers, Luke?
That they gotta, not put so much pressure on yourself. I think the whole like rewriting as you go and being hypercritical of every sentence, every word you write, I think that kills so much creativity and so much potential for people. Just remember that a first draft is a first draft and it's not supposed to be good. And when you hear that from every writer, please just like actually take that advice. I always describe it as like what you're looking at the bookstore. When I buy a book like Brian Panwish's Nothing But the Bones, this is a fully formed building. Like that is a building that you're seeing in New York, in the landscape. Nice, it's done. But what you're writing is like the sketch that an architect would do. Ted Mosby, another How I Met Your Mother reference. An architect would sketch up. It's not the same thing. You can't compare the two. So put less pressure on yourself when you're first starting out and just tell yourself the story. That's my biggest piece of advice, is get it written.
Get it written. Just do it.
Yeah, exactly.
In other words, we're good friends at Nike, right? Just do it. Just do it. Just write. Have fun writing. That's another thing I've learned. Terrence, what do you tell me this for, man? He says, guys, the new DuckTales show is amazing. It's worth it because they rebooted DuckTales not too long ago. And if I remember correctly, Terrence, the purple man from Jessica Jones, David Tennant, Doctor Who, he voices Ebenezer's. I think he voices Uncle Scrooge, doesn't he? David Tennant does. Somebody in there is voicing one of the characters, but I do know that Jim Cummings, who has voiced all the many characters within the Disney family over the years, came back too, because he's the voice of Darkwing Duck. Is Jim Cummings, great voice actor, great guy. Met him twice at conventions, very nice man. Also the voice of Winnie the Pooh, Luke.
Nice.
So. And Tigger. Ooh, it's Tigger. It's all good things. And then Jared goes on to say, men's adventure poetry. Terrence,
Louis L'Amour.
Yeah. There you go. Let's see. Terrence says, I've written 2 romance novels and counting. Wow.
Nice.
Okay.
Beast.
Terrence,
Just
go
ahead.
I was going to say, I may have to read those too.
Yeah, he's like David Morrell again, jumping into different genres. That's what I like. I like to see it.
All while wearing a $5,000 suit. Terrence says, Luke is great, period. End of story.
I appreciate you, Terrence.
And then Swordsman 007 goes on to say, Disney got a real Scotsman this time. Oh, okay. All right. Nice. David Tennant and whatnot. Good things. Well, outside of the great advice that you just gave for those of you who are aspiring to be a writer and all that other great stuff, and we're going to be talking about some of the great things that Luke and his wonderful people have done over the course of time. Before we do, I thought I would share this with you who are watching or listening to this episode of And I Quote right now, just to get you a little bit more of a, what do you say, adventurous mood as we go into some of the background of Luke and some of the things he's published over the last couple of years. So take a look.
He uncovered the Ark, survived the Temple of Doom, and discovered the Holy Grail. Now, one of the greatest film adventure series of all time is available for the first time in special edition DVDs.
You call this archaeology?
Discover how the ultimate action hero began.
I'm going after that truck. How? I don't know. I'm making this up as I go.
For the first time, only individual movies on DVD with bonus features. including interviews with Harrison Ford, George Lucas, and Steven Spielberg.
Any questions then?
Experience Indiana Jones like never before with the movies that set the standard for action and adventure.
Trust me.
See how the hero became a legend. Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Temple of Doom, and The Last Crusade. Coming to DVD May 13th.
I mean, you know.
No right being that good. That is so good. I can't believe how good those movies are. That gets me so hyped.
See? Yeah, it's what we came here for, brother. What am I trying to say here? Absolutely. So let's dive into some of this here. So you've written so many things over the course of time, but I want to focus on a few things. We'll go back to the beginning, and then we'll go a little bit forward here. Okay. So let's talk about this for a minute. Vipers and Red Rocks. How did this all come about?
Yeah, so Vipers and Red Rocks is kind of like my love letter to the classic Western, or my love letter to Louis L'Amour. It takes place in modern day, but the character there, Hunter Moss, shown on the cover, he's kind of cut from the same cloth as Hondo or any of the Louis L'Amour characters. And in this particular novel, he leaves his normal life in Montana to pursue the outlaw motorcycle gang that was responsible for the deterioration of his town and the death of his father. And he follows them all the way down into Mexico, where he lives off the land for 400 days, hunting them, picking them off. And once he gets to the end of that, he kind of accidentally bumps into an even bigger enemy, which is the cartel. And so then it's like the kind of the survival last of the whole book is outside, him trying to survive as he's getting pushed up into the mountains by these pursuers, and he has to use his tracking skills and his survival skills to evade and survive and attack so that he can get back home. I think you're muted, my friend.
Oh, sorry about that. But yeah, what I was about to say was it's really good stuff. I dig it. It's deep. It's a little bit dark, a little bit gritty, but I dig it. I mean, hey, if it worked for Chris Nolan in the Dark Knight trilogy, why not this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've definitely taken a titration down off the dark and gritty train. This is kind of what I was talking about earlier when I had kids and the shift in my writing, where like Frozen Wrath, I would never hand that to a kid ever. Like that would be almost illegal. It's too dark. It's too gritty. It's trying to be something that I'm just not anymore. So I look back at that, and not that I like regret it too much or anything. It's just not the same writer. It's not the same guy. And so the second one, same thing. Retaliation Mountain follows up, and it's very much what Frozen Wrath was. And Vipers was my first kind of like pivot away, because I had written a full-on manuscript that was totally different. It was the third in the series entirely, and it was a follow-up and had the same tone and everything like that. But then I had my son, and I just got just a bunch of changes of heart happened, and I reworked the story and I rewrote it completely. And I knew I couldn't completely do a 180 and make like a kids friendly thing like the Noah Redford stuff and be like, hey, I know you guys enjoyed the first two. Here's this one that has nothing to do with it. So I had to kind of like balance the two worlds. But you kind of, if you read that book, you'll see how it ends. And it's kind of me ending that arc for myself of like just these purely violent, gritty books, and then to these books that are more adventure focused and center around heroism and things like that. And that's where I got to finally jump into Noah Redford, Fire in the Tall Grass, which is safe enough to be handed to a 10-year-old. Like it's not written in the same manner as Frozen Wrath. They're polar opposites in their writing.
Mm-hmm. Understandable. These comments are coming in fast and furious. So Terrence says, yes, David Tennant was amazing. Jim Cummings came back for Darkwing Duck. That episode is the bow. Going back to what we were talking about with DuckTales. Yeah. By the way, your brother in arms is here. Nathaniel Hummel says, if you had to choose between one fictional character to go on an adventure with, who would it be?
Is it unfair to say Nate Colt? He'd probably be mad if I said that, but he plays Nate Colt, and I think that'd be sick. But other than that, I would probably go with Hondo from the Louis L'Amours, because he could teach me so much about like living off the land and like how to make a bowstring out of the sinew of an animal. I would want to learn that from one of Louis L'Amour's characters like Hondo.
Wow, okay, we just got deep, which is good stuff, but I dig it. Sam Whitfield says, I like Luke because he's awesome. He shares the same name as my childhood best friend, who I'm still friends with to this very day.
There we go.
Well, I mean, hey, Luke Skywalker was, a big name, and he still is. Swordsman Double says, yo, Nathaniel. David V. Mamina of Mamina Books and Games says, sounds like a badass modern Rambo Western with Vipers and Red Rocks. Excellent work.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, the series, like Frozen Wrath is what kicked it off, and that was my homage to First Blood. Like, it takes place in the winter instead, but kind of a manhunt into the woods, and I kind of wanted to do like a flip, put it into not winter, but into the desert in Vipers. So both of those are kind of my homage and love letter to David Morrell as well as Louis L'Amour. Mixing the Western with the. If you hear Louis or David Morrell talk about First Blood, he said it to himself. It is a Western as well. So kind of a Western, but also whatever Rambo is, whatever that First Blood survivalist, man versus nature, man versus man thing is. I love that type of writing. Nathaniel could tell you, we talked about on the podcast, my favorite subgenre is like survivalist fiction, like Hatchet. I love that
stuff. Good points. Absolutely. And then Jared Jenkins goes on to say Frozen Wrath was very good.
Thank you, Jared.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Swordsman 007 says, I need Joe Mack on speed dial. Okay. That's all right.
It's from Last of the Breed.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I'm like, who's Joe Mack? I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he would be a great teacher. I would like to hang out with Joe Mack for as long as I could.
Fair enough. And then he goes on to say, Luke is an awesome individual, and I'm blessed. Not just happy, I am blessed to know him and all you guys. You are my people. You are my peoples.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome, man. Happy to talk to you. And by the way, for you to call yourself Swordsman 007, that's just badass. Can I say that? Yeah, I can. That's badass, in my opinion. Jared Jenkins says, to answer Nathaniel's question from earlier on, I think going on a safari with Alan Quatermain would be one for the books.
That would be sweet.
That's another good one. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. So, taking a trip down what is known as memory lane here, Fighting Heart of Man, Volume 1. How did this all come about?
I don't really remember. Nathaniel and I, just same thing with the podcast. One day talking, being like, we should do this. And then we did this. So it was, me and Nathaniel love the genre so much. We do the Men's Adventure Fiction podcast together. And we younger men into reading. We want to get the younger generation into these stories and show them what men's adventure fiction is to us and what we love about it. So we did the short story collection, which is just basically all the men's adventure fiction things we could think of. There's pirates in there. There's French Foreign Legion. There's boxing. There's treasure hunting. All the different subgenres in there, crammed into one kind of like a flight that you'd get, like I don't drink, but like they make those beer flights and such. Like, it's just like, hey, try this men's adventure fiction. Try this men's adventure fiction. And then we did a collaboration short story to end it out. So I think this just came together out of a shared love for the genre and wanting to get more individuals involved and interested and to see what the genre could be, just to show them the different subgenres. I think you're muted.
Technology. What I was saying was, so this book is like a taste of 31 flavors of men's adventure fiction rolled into one.
Yep. Exactly that.
Pirates. You cheated. Pirate. Sorry, that's from Curse of the Black Pearl. Have you seen Curse of the Black Pearl?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That movie, dude, that movie is so awesome. It's one of the best adventure. I think it's one of the best adventure movies, period.
I love Captain Jack Sparrow. I need to rewatch that first movie. It's one of those movies that I love every time I watch it, and then I don't watch it for so long. I still have not seen all of them either.
There were no sequels.
Curse of the Black Pearl?
No, there were no sequels. Nothing ever happened after this. But I did that. Nothing happened after the first one.
Okay.
There is no 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9. There's just one.
Yeah. And it should be that way, I guess, because I remember seeing the second one, like him running on the giant wheel and stuff, and it just wasn't the same for me.
I got a jar of dirt. I'm like, come on, dude. Really?
Yeah, that first one though, pretty sweet. Pretty good sword fights in that movie too. Will Turner. Like there's that one where they're in the blacksmith kind of like
the shop.
Shop. Yeah, I love that fight. I still remember that.
Yeah, because they're going up on the balance, but they're going up on the beams. They come down from the beams. They swing. And then he throws the sword to keep him from opening the door, and it works.
So sick.
And then he says, "That is a wonderful trick." It's and then he says, "Who makes all these?" "I do, and I practice with them 3 hours a day." "You need to find yourself a girl, mate." It's just, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Great score by Hans Zimmer too. And I forget his co-composer, was it Klaus Badelt, I want to say, but it was, dude, that's one of the best scores ever. So.
It is. That is a nice theme song. very classic, easy to identify, just like the Indiana Jones ones. Probably not on the same level, obviously, but just those sound like you hear it, you know exactly what that is.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Once again, we are here with the guest of honor, Luke Goodish, on this episode of Anti-Quote. Do not forget to like and share this with everyone you know if you're joining us live or what is known as a replay. Thank you for doing that. If you have any questions for Luke or myself and how giddy we get about adventure stuff or characters, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. We're taking a little bit of a trip down what is known as memory lane here. Terrence says the first Pirates film is nearly perfect. It is. It's real good. Like if we're going to make... Because we've done this before, and we're going to do it again somewhere down the line. We're going to do another episode of what is called Perfect Movies, where each panelist brings a list of 5 different movies that they believe to be perfect or near perfect, and they explain to us why they chose those 5 movies. Terrence, Curse of the Black Pearl is up there, man. I think it's a perfect film. I think it is in a lot of different ways. I don't know. It depends on how you look at it. Luke, when you go back and rewatch the film, let me know if you think it's perfect or not.
You got it. I'll probably do that sooner than later. Kind of feeling it.
We got a vibe going. Speaking of which, let's talk about the elephant in the room with regards to the thumbnail that we used for this episode. Men's Adventure Fiction Podcast. How did this all come about?
So I try to do a lot on Instagram as far as like showcasing pulp art and talking about the movies I like and different things in the genre that fascinate me, and that leads to really good conversations in the DMs a lot of the time, like people talking about, oh, I love that movie too growing up. Exactly what we're doing now about like Curse of the Black Pearl. Like this kind of stuff happens in the DMs, and I'm enjoying that. And Nathaniel, I think the way it started was he like tagged me in one of these, what's your top favorite authors or something like that. And I saw his, and I responded back, and then we had a conversation in the DMs, and one thing kind of led to another. And we kind of grew this friendship and realization that we both love men's adventure fiction, possibly more than anyone on the planet. And then we met the Discord, eventually getting ahead of myself and realized, hey, there's more of us out here. But we realized, hey, I can talk to nobody more than you about this particular subject. Why don't we like do a podcast? And I think, again, this might have been Nathaniel's idea. I think just a throwaway line. And then like, we're like, yeah, let's do it. And originally it was going to be bi-weekly. We're like, yeah, we'll just do every other week or something like that. And then we did the first one. We're like, this cannot be every other week. We got to talk again immediately. So it just kind of was grown from this passion and this excitement that we both had about the genre, and realizing for the first time, because Casey, like I said, best friend since 3rd grade, but he doesn't have the obsession of the genre the way I do. Nobody has the obsession Nathaniel. So meeting Nathaniel and being able to just talk about this was too much of an opportunity not to share it. And then he threw the Discord out, which is a genius idea on his part to connect with more people, because now we have greater conversations, more recommendations. It's been too fun. So thank Nathaniel for putting all this together, I'd say.
We thank you, Nathaniel. Thanks for blowing up my cell phone when I didn't want it to be blown up, but thanks for doing it anyway, because this the good thing about my phone is this thing will not self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Yep.
Like an episode of, or like a movie, like one of the movies from the Mission Impossible series, which concludes later this year with Final Reckoning. That's coming up pretty soon. Man, I don't know how you're going to end such a franchise that gets better with every single installment, but if someone can do it, it's Tom, right? Because the guy's he's 60-something, doing his own stunts. He's crazy. He doesn't have any sense of safety. He just wants to go for it. He does the same stunt 100 times over just to make sure they get the perfect shot. So we'll see how it ends, man. Mission Impossible, what's it called? The Final Reckoning comes out later this year, so get ready. It's coming.
Yep.
So it's coming. Sam Whitfield says, To Live and Die in L.A. is a perfect film that few have ever seen. Heat is also... Heat is... Let me tell you something. Many moons ago, I watched Heat, or tried to watch it, and I just couldn't get into it. I just, for some reason, it just didn't strike a chord with me at the time, Luke. And then I went back years later and I watched it again to give it another chance.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, for a 3-hour movie, it moves. It moves. It does not feel like 3 hours. It's a 3-hour movie, but it's one of the best tightly written, constructed, acted out, directed, written. You know what I mean? Like, it's just...
Yeah, it's a super well-crafted movie. We're going to do a hot takes episode and lose all of the friendships we've ever had from this episode, because for me, Den of Thieves, I love it way more than Heat. And I understand that'll get me like pummeled in a parking lot.
Probably.
But I just love the Den of Thieves version. I'm sorry. Heat's awesome. I get it. And I do agree with you. Well written. The acting
is
superb. Yeah, it's like so good. But yeah, for some reason, Den of Thieves, has done it for me, and I know that ruins friendships. Just like when I say Rocky 5 is one of my favorites, that gets me excommunicated faster than any.
That's a John Wick excommunicado right
Yeah,
there.
that's bold. So we're gonna do this episode and ruin all of the connections we've made soon.
Looking forward to that episode, and I can't wait to comment in the comment section below of that episode and tell you how wrong you are.
Yep.
So wrong, in the words of Willy Wonka, wrong, sir, wrong. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. Anyway,
But To Live and Die in LA, if you guys haven't seen that, it's on Amazon Prime finally. So good.
I never even heard of it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It literally was not available to stream anywhere. You couldn't rent it. You couldn't buy it.
Really?
Yeah, it was just. I was trying so hard to find it because Jack Carr posted about it a couple years ago, and it's finally out. So you can finally watch it. Super good.
Okay, I have to add it to my list. I'm curious now to see it because I've never heard of this before. So this is new for me, Sam Whitfield. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. But Heat is also a near perfect movie. It's dude, that scene in the diner where the two of them meet.
Yeah.
And they figure out who's who and what the game plan is going to be, what may happen to them down the line during the film.
And Val Kilmer in that movie, so good. The shootout, absurdly good.
But it feels real. The sound design is so real. You feel like you're actually in the middle of a police versus robber shootout kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's got best sound design. You know what's crazy? That film came out 30 years ago this year in '95 and didn't get any Oscars whatsoever when it should have.
Whoa.
It didn't get any. I don't think it got any Oscar nominations whatsoever.
That's
Nobody
insane.
cared about it.
That's insane.
Yeah, nobody
With that
cared.
cast too, you would think that they get something.
Nope.
And Michael Mann, he's got a track record. Give him.
He's got a good. He's got a track record with that one. He's got a track record with. Have you seen Collateral? Collateral's a great movie.
Collateral. Mindhunter, sick.
Okay. Yeah. Heat and Collateral are two of my favorite all-time movies.
Yeah.
So I will watch those because they're just cool, and the way they're shot are just cool.
Yep. He's got a really cool sense to him.
It's cool as ice, like Miami Vice, because Michael Mann was involved in Miami Vice back in the day in the 80s. So get credit where credit's due. Mamina Books and Games, David V. Mamina, who's a good friend of mine, says, hell yeah, I got to find my way to that podcast of yours. Raw adventure fiction needs to have a resurgence in modern pop culture. Good point, David. Good point, man. I dig it. Swordsman says, Heat is my favorite movie of the 1990s. It's no contest.
Wow. Nice.
Wow. Okay. Well, this is gonna be an interesting episode when we get him on the show. He says, Sam Whitfield says, I get pummeled because I think To Live and Die in LA is better than The French Connection. I haven't seen either one, so I can't say. And by the way, speaking of French Connection, we lost Gene Hackman earlier this week. R.I.P. to Gene Hackman. 95 years of age though, so he had a good run.
Wow. I know he was 95.
Yeah, he was 95 when he passed away. Him and his wife, and apparently one of their 3 dogs died too.
Yeah.
They were all found dead in their home too, which is sad and a bit suspicious to me.
Yeah, very odd. Unless it's carbon monoxide or something like that.
That's what they say, suspicious. But obviously we'll find out more when they do the actual, what do you call it? The autopsy report comes in. I'm not really sure. But R.I.P. to Gene Hackman, his wife, and the dog, and our thoughts and prayers go out to his family and friends. Sam Whitfield says, I wrote a paper once in college about the movie Heat and then based my crime fiction anthology after Heat. Ooh. Nice. Sam, send me the links, man. I want to read this shiznit. Get on it, son. Let's go. I want to read this. I like, and by the way, here's another thing I like about the subgenre of men's adventure fiction. I like heist movies or heists. Do you like heist movies? I mean, you like that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. I love the Ocean series too. Like just seeing like that one's again with the cool factor and like people having their super skill and everyone's kind of getting recruited. Those are always great movies. So I'm a big fan of heist movies. Have you seen, I know, I don't beat me up, guys. We're talking about Den of Thieves again. But have you seen Den of Thieves 2?
I haven't seen either the first one or the second one.
So the first one's better than Heat. Just kidding. The first one's sweet. It's a heist movie. It's literally just ripping off Heat. But the second one, they definitely changed the tone. They pulled what I kind of did with Frozen Wrath to the No Redford stuff. They definitely took it from like the super hyper serious, super like, gritty movie to way more fun, kind of in the vein of like Ocean's 11 or a Mission Impossible movie. It's kind of like this fun heist movie. I really enjoyed it. And again, it's one of every movie is like this, but it's very polarizing. A lot of people are like, it's garbage. I hate it. A lot of people are like, hey, it's way better than the first one. So it's coming to Netflix. So you'll be able to watch it for free if you have Netflix this month. So check out the second one. You don't even have to see the first one, to be honest. It fills you in enough.
And
I
think it's called Den of Thieves 2 Pantera, I want to say.
Yep.
Is it Pantera or Panetera? Something like that.
I think it's Pantera.
Okay. All right. Cool. Just want to make sure I said it correctly. Swordsman says, Sam, I support your unpopular opinion in air quotes, quotation marks. So there you go. Controversial opinions abound on this episode of And I Quote with Luke Goodish. Don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends because we need the ratings. No, I'm just, but if you want to, please do. We're not going to, it's up to you. But if you're joining us live on the replay, thank you for doing that. If you have any questions or want to question Luke's education and popularity and how his opinions are wrong, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. I'm just kidding, brother. I love you.
No, you're good.
Let us know in the comments of the chat. We really appreciate it. Let's jump to the front of the line here. Fire in the Tall Grass. Awesome looking cover. Excuse my language, but very badass.
Thanks.
And you're playing, and during the course of the marketing campaign for this release of this book, you were playing God's Gonna Cut You Down by Johnny Cash, which to me is, I think it's my favorite Johnny Cash song, if not my second favorite, because I also really like what he did with Hurt.
Yeah.
His version of Hurt I thought was really good. So Fire in the Tall Grass, what are we getting here? What's the elevator pitch for this bad boy? And who designed this cover?
This was my wife, and it's her second attempt at that. She did the short story collection I did with Nathaniel, Fighting Heart of Man, and this is the second one she's done because she's always been into art and is really good at that, but I didn't know if she could do pulp art. She was like, I bet I could do it. I'll give it a shot. And then I realized, wow, you can do it. This is amazing. Can you do this one now? And how about this one? And this one? So we'll see. I'm hoping she can do all my covers from now on if she'll, it takes a lot of time. So we'll see. But the elevator pitch for this is that Noah Redford, to me, he's like the ultimate idealistic hero that I want to be when I grow up type of thing. And he's post World War I, he was an aviator, and he's out kind of decompressing from that experience and getting over what he's been through. And he's about to leave. He's about to come home. But a woman from the camp that he's at in Africa asks him if he can take her to the Congo because her husband is missing. And she has a son. He needs his father. And he's a very principled man. So he's like, yeah, a boy needs his father. I will help you. Let's go. I'll take you to the Congo. And when he gets there, he realizes that it was not fully the truth, what she was telling him. And when he arrives there, there's some guerrilla warfare. There's a hunt for an ancient relic and way, way more danger than he expected. So it's a classic throwback to the Indiana Jones type thing that we love. Just an adventure, romp, swashbuckling fun. You can see him fight with swords, fists, guns, all of it. And it's all fairly family friendly. Every family kind of depends when you're going to show people what. But if you're okay with your kids seeing like Indiana Jones or Indiana Jones Temple of Doom, The Mummy, like that kind of stuff, it's tame. It's that tame. It's good enough for them to read.
By the way, on the top of the cover there, is that a cobra or a snake? Is that a snake?
So it's supposed to be either a snake or a crocodile because there's kind of the ginormous snake kind of comes later. Mm-hmm. And before that comes crocodile. So you're reading and you're thinking, the crocodiles, I guess, are the biggest problem. But then there's like an absolute monster of a snake. But the picture that she was going off of and like trying to replicate was an alligator, I think.
Oh, an alligator. Okay, sorry, I got the two mixed up. But it looked like a snake. It looked like an anaconda type thing.
Yeah.
Like, snakes. I don't know no snakes. Let's get out of here. Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes? I mean, it's very dangerous. You go first. See what I did there? There's your Raiders of the Lost Ark dropping like crazy. By the way, Swordsman says, I totally need a Mrs. Goodish cover for my novel. This one is lit.
Thank you, man. Yeah, and like I said, she's trying to build her portfolio because she was like, I actually enjoy doing this. So
she does. Okay.
Build a resume. So definitely message her. She's on Instagram at Midnight Moon Creation. So you could talk to her. She'll definitely probably be down to do your cover. She's enjoying it and trying to get better herself. So it's be a win-win.
Giddy up. Indie supports indie. Am I right, folks?
Yep.
Let's build each other up, not tear each other down. Nathaniel, your brother in arms, says Fire in the Tall Grass is the new standard of adventure fiction.
Thank you, Nathaniel.
Mm-hmm. Boy, that bromance is really booming.
As Apollo and Rocky and Rocky 3. Every time we finish the podcast, it's in the ocean just doing the bro hug as the waves are coming up. That's us.
With the theme song playing in the background,
That's us.
Oh gosh, getting stronger, getting stronger.
Yep.
And then, but does he ever drop the line on you? There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
Oh, yeah,
does he ever say that to you?
Hit each other with we'll hit each other with the lines.
Okay.
The hard truths. We'll get there.
Do you ever look at him one day and just kind of like say, tomorrow, we'll do it tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
Such a good scene. I love that movie.
Dude, the words, there is no tomorrow, like that is a very big deal because if you're trying to go after something, there is no tomorrow. You just got to go after it today.
Right. Yeah.
right?
Oh
I guess
yeah, Rocky 3 is again one of my favorites because seeing the arc of him kind of like being crushed and fully depressed in that movie and
'cause I'm
losing his
afraid.
mentor. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
facing his
afraid,
fears.
Adrian. I'm afraid.
So good.
You know that scene on the beach. You know what I'm talking about? He's like, "Come on,
Hmm.
because I'm afraid, because I want to be something, and I'm not something. I'm not going to be something else." You know, it's just oh gosh. But let
This,
me ask you this. I got to ask you this though. I
mhm.
got to ask you, hands down, favorite training montage from all 5 of them.
Yeah, it's hard not to say 4, but more and more I like 3 because friendship is such an important thing to me, as we've talked about even here and
Mhm.
in the
In the
Men's Physical
Discord.
Fiction podcast and the Discord. We had a
Yeah.
whole episode on the podcast talking about the like what are they called? Like the solo mission guys, the lone wolves, and
Oh,
be
the
like,
lone
that's
wolves.
yeah,
Yeah.
like that's for fiction. Like in real life, you need community, you need brotherhood. So I love the fact that it's with Apollo in Rocky 3, and they're kind of doing the buddy montage, and you see them fight each other, sprinting across from racing each other on the beach. So I think Rocky 3 has become my favorite montage of them all. What about yourself?
That's a great question. And here's the thing, though, because I saw the first Rocky many moons ago, and I didn't really care for it. And then I
Mhm,
went back because I got the set on Blu-ray, so I want to go back and watch the original 6,
mhm.
not counting the spin-off series known as Creed, because Creed
Yep.
is really good too in its own right.
Oh, yeah.
But as far as the core, right, Luke, the core Rocky movies, the
Yep.
original 6, there's 6 of them, folks. Believe it or not, there are actually 6 Rocky movies. Some people don't think there's a 6th one, but there is. It's called Rocky Balboa. It came out in 2006, the year I graduated high school. Hashtag those are the facts. My favorite training montage, though, Luke, to answer the question, because I know I'm kind of getting off base here, but either Rocky 3 is my favorite, or I actually liked Rocky 2's montage because
Yeah.
when Adrian is sick
Yeah, it's
and
a
they think she's
stat
gonna
one. That's
die and
good.
she's in
Yeah.
the hospital and just lying there, and then eventually she gets up, right? Like she
Right.
wakes up, looks at Rocky and says, "I'm gonna be okay. Like the doctors are here, the nurses are here." He's like, "You know what?" He's like, "Adrian, what do you want me to do? You know what you can do for me? Win."
And then
Win.
the bell.
And then what's his name? Paul, Mickey behind him is like, "Well, what are we waiting for?
Yep.
Let's go." And then you hit the ding, dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun,
the
dun,
dinging,
dun,
dude.
dun,
It's
dun, dun,
give me
dun,
chills.
dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
The
And
one
then
arm
just
push-ups, the one arm pull-ups,
yep.
beast. I love that movie.
Yeah.
They're all so good.
They're all so good, but probably Rocky too, just because he has the love of his life, you think she's gonna die,
Yeah.
but she wakes up. Thank goodness, by the way, Adrian, and looks at him and says, "You know what you can do for me? Win. Go out and win, because I
Beast.
know you
Yeah.
can." Like because she believes in him, right? You
Yep.
need that support, right,
Yep.
Luke? Someone to look you in the eye and say, "I believe in you. You can win. Just go out there and win." That's all you need to do. It's that.
Yep.
And he's like, "What are we waiting for? Let's go." Because he said, I don't know if he says this in the first or the second movie. Remember when his trainer, I think it's Mickey, says, "You're gonna eat lightning. You're gonna crap thunder."
That's the first one. Yep.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what that means, but it's basically his way of saying you're gonna be a badass. You're gonna walk into the ring.
Yeah.
You're gonna punch him in the face. You're gonna punch him in the gut. You're gonna get all the points. And it's good
Such a good
stuff,
movie.
man. And the other thing too, what I love about Rocky 3 is we get the song "Eye of the Tiger."
Yep. The music in that movie is legit.
Mhm.
And the whole series, so good. Vince DiCola,
Oh, is
War
that who it
from
is?
War. In the fourth one, Vince DiCola's War is
Oh, okay,
Bill
sorry.
Conti did the like the earlier
Oh, right,
the
the
Rocky
early,
theme and stuff.
you know,
But Vince DiCola, I think his name's Vince DiColi or
is
something.
it?
But in the fourth one, yeah, Vince something. But the song War is one of my favorites. It plays while he's fighting the Russian Ivan Drago. It's so sick.
Mm, mm. I
Great
will say
workout
this:
music.
the Rocky 4 training montage isn't too shabby because he grows the thick beard
Yep.
because he's in the middle of nowhere. He's freezing. He's got the winter gear. He's got that thick coat on. And he runs up the mountain. Draga.
Yeah, dude. That's so good. And the sit-ups on like the balance beam. If he falls, he's
Yeah, yeah.
going through the balance beam, doing the sit-ups, doing tricep extensions with rocks. So cool.
Mhm. And doesn't he pick up logs in that one?
Yeah, he picks up logs. He picks up a wheelbarrow full with all of the guys, like Duke, Paulie, Adrian. He picks up the basket as Drago's picking up the bar with like 4 plates on it.
Yeah.
Overhead pressing 405 or something. Just oof. Don't know how that's possible, but hey, he's the Russian.
I don't get it either. Did you like the spin-off series? Did you like the Creed trilogy that we got?
I do love the Creed series.
Yeah, Creed's good too. My favorite of the Creed movies is Creed 2 because it circles back to Rocky and what they did with Rocky 4.
Yeah, Creed 2 is phenomenal. Drago's son in that, and like you said, what they do with that. It's almost like the Cobra Kai effect, where they show you a different side of Drago, and that was done really well. Cobra Kai is also one of my favorites.
Darn right, that show is awesome. I haven't seen the final season yet, so don't ruin it for me. But dude, I freaking love
Yep.
Cobra Kai, because
That's it.
Cobra Kai never dies, and
It's so
Johnny
good.
Lawrence trying to take over the dojo in the beginning of the series, and then Daniel has to intervene, and Kreese comes back, and all these twists and turns happen with not just him, but let's not forget Terry Silver
Yep.
comes back, and I'm like, wait a minute, the guy from the third one, like
Yeah.
he comes back.
The
Like-
Rocky V of the Karate Kid series, making it good, you know?
Well, Cobra Kai made it, more relatable.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
I think Cobra Kai, is some of the best character work in general, like those kids' storylines and like
Mhm.
how they kind of like flip the archetypes of the original. It's too good.
Mhm.
My mic's kind of falling off on me, so I'm gonna push it
Oh,
back on
you
real quick.
silly goose! Come
I
on, man.
know. I know.
We've been
How could
planning
I?
this. We've been planning this interview for weeks and weeks and weeks. You had all this time to get prepared, and now all of a sudden you're dropping the ball here.
I
Come
mean,
on.
I do, the podcast every week here too, just absolutely wrecking my studio. I don't know what I'm doing.
Gee willikers. Well,
Nightmare.
to give everyone a heads up, as Luke is fixing his technical side of the equipment. This is And I Quote with Luke Goodish. Don't forget to like and share this if you're joining us live or on a replay. Thank you for doing so. If you have any questions for Luke or question his preparedness for a show, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Goodness gracious, I just find zingers everywhere I look. If someone wants to start reading men's adventure fiction, because there's no really right or wrong way to answer this $2,000 question, but where's a good place to start? Would you tell them to start with Louis L'Amour? Would you tell them to start with David Morrell? Would you just say, you know what, just start with Noah Redford? Start there.
Yeah.
Not to sound biased or anything.
Only
Why
my
don't you just
books,
start with one of
please.
mine?
Just only read my books, I think, would be the
Yeah.
answer. No, I think actually my real answer would be like go to a used bookstore and try to find the old paperbacks, pull them out, look at the covers, and see whatever one resonates with you. Because I think some of the most exciting parts of this genre to me is the personal discovery of these gems. Being like I found this book. What is this? And then realizing you just discovered Louis L'Amour for the first time. Because that's half the fun. It's like pulling out an executioner novel and being like, whoa. Or for me, like Nevada Jim. Like I never knew what Nevada Jim was. This is wild. But going into a used bookstore, finding a cover that resonates with you and do it that way. But if you want a safe pick, if you're not really into that exploration version and kind of going on your own hunt for something, then I would say Louis L'Amour is the safest bet. Go find a Louis L'Amour book. You can do the same thing, kind of more locked into one author. You can look around at the Louis L'Amour covers, see what one resonates with you, read the back, be like, okay, this is the one. Find your own Louis, take it back and read it. Because when people ask me like, what Louis L'Amour book should I start with, I give them that same advice a lot of the time, where it's like, go find the one that looks most interesting to you, because almost all of them are worth it. They're almost all awesome. You can't go wrong. So find out which one specifically looks up your alley. That's what I would say.
Good pieces of advice there. Yeah. So instead of because I was gonna say you're gonna drop the bias line. Just read my books. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, I'm joshing you, but no, great advice. We got a bunch of used bookstores here in the area where I am in Maryland. Maryland has a bunch of. There was one that a coworker of mine told me about a few months ago. It's called Wonder Book. It's located in Frederick, Maryland. So in case anyone's in the area, it's got a huge collection of used books. I haven't paid a visit to them yet, but my goal was to visit them in the next couple of weeks and go over and see if I can find some Louis L'Amour books, some other men's adventure fiction books. When I go over there and I look through the sections, because obviously I'll ask one of the employees, where do you find so and so, genre or whatever. Yeah. And I'm flipping through. If I find something to my liking, I'll grab it. But if I, find something that's interesting, but I want to get someone's opinion on, I'm just going to go into the Discord. Text you guys. Like I'll text you guys a picture of what I'm looking at, like the shelf, and be like, okay, what should I do here? I need some advice. And then I guarantee you I'm going to get like 4 or 5 different responses.
Right.
Saying this is what you should do. This is that. But hey, there's no right or wrong way to answer the question.
Exactly.
So nothing wrong with that. Here's a question then that doesn't often get asked on certain pieces of media or talk shows. Favorite inspirational quote that you found in a book or something you found in a movie?
Well, it's obviously going to be Rocky for me, I feel like. And it's going to be until you start believing in yourself, you're not going to have a life. That line is always just like, I find it to be one of the most true, like one of the truisms of life. If you don't believe in your own self, like if you don't have the confidence in what you're doing, nothing's going to you're not going to achieve what you want to achieve. If you cannot personally stand up and say like, I know what I'm doing is worthwhile, and I have something that's, worth putting out there, then it's dead on arrival. It's just not gonna happen. So until you start believing yourself, you're not gonna have a life. I think is that Rocky 2 or 3? I don't know which Rocky it comes from, unfortunately, but
It's actually Rocky 6. It's Rocky Balboa.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Oh
after
yeah,
he
you're
gives
right. It's to his son. It's that
it's
same
to his
speech.
kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same
it's not about
speech.
how hard you hit. It's about how hard you could get hit and keep moving forward. How much you could take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
That whole speech is incredible. If you ever need just life-changing advice, look up Rocky Balboa talking to his son in his speech. Yep.
Well, yeah, I think it's called Rocky Balboa's speech, and then it's the first thing that pops up is the clip from Rocky 6, which in this case is Rocky Balboa when he's talking to his son Richard, played by Milo Ventimiglia from NBC's Heroes, and he was in Gilmore Girls, he was in Gotham, Fox's Gotham series.
This Is Us, Jack Pearson.
This Is Us, which by the way, got to tell you this. So Milo Ventimiglia, I met him at a Comic-Con a couple years back. This was at Awesome Con in our nation's capital of Washington, D.C. Okay. I went up to him and I said, look, man, I got to tell you something. I got to be straight up with you. Your episode, when they reveal how Jack Pearson's character on This Is Us dies, it hit me so hard that I was bawling at the end of the episode because it reminded me of how my dad died. He didn't die in the same manner that Jack did, but it was kind of similar in a way. And I told him how hard it hit me and how much it made me remember my dad's death, which is painful, yes. But at the same time, it makes me remember, that, hey, he may be gone, but he's still there to a degree. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Not to get spiritual here on this show, but when, in the words of Skywalker, no one's ever really gone. So when I told him how much that episode hit me in the feels and how much I was crying and bawling, he came over to me and he said, thanks, man. I really appreciate you saying that. Can I give you? And he said, let me give you a hug, bro. And we hugged it out. He signed an 8x10 for me at his booth. It was great. Wonderful. We got a selfie. It's on my Instagram page. You can find it at And I Quote channel. Also at Ryan RPM5, which we'll talk more about here in a minute. But yeah, Milo Ventimiglia is one of the coolest dudes, man. He was that episode broke me.
Yeah,
it really did.
I'm wildly jealous because he's definitely one of the people I admire so much, and like that Jack Pearson character. Kind of to your same point, I think the reason I loved that so much because it's not men's adventure fiction or the genre that we typically talk about, but I loved that show for the first 2-3 seasons because Jack Pearson reminded me so much of my dad. He was so much like my dad. That it's just weird. It was weird, because I'm also from Pittsburgh, so it was just uncanny valley watching this series for a lot of it. And Milo Ventimiglia became one of my favorite. I mean, I already loved Gilmore Girls, and Jess, his character, is so sick. So, and he's Rocky's son. So I had a foundation to like him, and then that show just skyrocketed my appreciation for Milo Ventimiglia.
Booyah, man. That is awesome sauce. But yeah, no, if you haven't got a chance to see the television series This Is Us, check it out. It's currently streaming on Disney Plus, so check it out. It's all there. Apparently Disney Plus has everything.
Yeah, seriously.
So, I mean, they've gotten all the classic crime dramas from NYPD Blue to Law and Orders to, Parenthood's another great show too. They came out in the 2010s. But yeah, check out This Is Us. It's good stuff. And LOP 4795 says, "Hey Luke, I'm not sure who LOP."
I believe this is my friend Jim.
Is it
my best friends of all time? Yep.
All right. So Jim, you say? All right.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I'm saying that right. So Jim also says, Luke has been a great mentor for my writing journey over the course of years. If Luke likes your stuff, then it's the truth.
Thanks, Jim. You're the man.
That's awfully nice of him to say. You can't handle the truth. No, I'm sorry. That's a line from another, and he says, absolutely, it's Jim. LOL. Okay, well, thank you for clearing that. Because when people have these unique usernames, I don't know what to say. I'll say what the username is, but I don't know what your actual name is.
Yeah, Jim's the man. He's a great writer, one of the best metaphor writers. His metaphors are some of the coolest things ever. Yeah, he wrote what sticks with me still, and this was maybe 2019 that I read this line in a thing he wrote, that he was just describing this character walking, and he kind of described it in a way that it was like a stray dog, and he had this passage about it, and I was like, dude, that I think about that at least once a month, the way he described this character. So he's got some of the coolest metaphors. Yeah, become friends with Jim so you can read his writing. There's nothing out yet, but there's hopefully some Jim writing out there that you guys will be able to read soon because he is phenomenal.
Free marketing, guys. Free marketing. Give Luke your money. No, I'm just kidding. But it's great. I look forward to reading your stuff there. What is it, Jim and Swordsman 007. Sam Whitfield, look forward to talking to you, man. Getting you on the show. Yeah, come on your show, whichever one. He says, oh, man, you're just too kind. I remember that piece I wrote. Haha.
Nice. Back in the apartment days, Jim. That's where you're... where I first kind of ran into you.
Days.
The apartment era of Jim.
Not the house with the white picket fence. It's the apartment days, brother. So watch out. We're going back a few years. I'm just throwing that out there as for instance. When it comes to the men's adventure fiction podcast, what's the plan for that moving forward for the next 5 years?
hopefully just keep having awesome conversations with different writers in the genre, fans of the genre, with Nathaniel and me, just kind of keeping up with what's going on, and just basically we're here to have fun. We say it almost every episode where it's like, if the internet exploded and this wasn't, a possibility to be a show in any sense, we would still be talking men's adventure fiction at least once a week in the same capacity, in the same way. And even though we do the podcast once a week, we're still phone call nearly once a day, like talking about men's adventure fiction and talking about the new Yellow, 1923 episodes. And it's just what we do. It's just what we want to be doing with our time. So I think the future is just going to hopefully include bigger and better guests and more opportunities, and more episodes, more fun for everybody, because this has been a wild ride. I've loved it.
Wild stuff. So in other words, if you build it, he will come. So we just got to keep building it, man.
Got to get Milo Ventimiglia on there one day, right?
Oh, that would be great. He's a great guy. He's really good to have around, and I hear he's good on being on shows and just doing interviews with other people and members of the media, I would say. So yeah, let's keep that in mind as we go throughout the course of time. As far as the genre of men's adventure fiction goes, what do we see happening here in the next 5 to 10 years? Do you see it kind of getting a resurgence? Do you see it growing even further? Do you think it's going to be maybe a convention named after it, more so than Pulp Fest is in the state of Pennsylvania? I mean, where do you see this genre going?
It's easy because I'm kind of in an echo chamber at this point to think like men's adventure fiction is huge. It's back, guys. It's so this might be biased. I'll admit that, but I think men's adventure fiction seems like it's having a resurgence, and it's on the precipice, because they said Pulp Fest last year was its highest attendance, and that's like another good sign. And we're seeing things like Ryan Pote's new book, Blood and Treasure, that's coming out this summer, kind of throwback to that Clive Cussler era. They're doing that in the marketing, like they're openly saying like this is Clive Cussler meets Tom Clancy. Like I think there's more of a push. And you got 1923, Spencer Dutton, huge Indiana Jones vibes, and Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford is in the show, and like the Golden Circle, I think is what you said the Indiana Jones game was called. There are a lot of things in the culture that are kind of giving it some spotlight and some shine. And I also think one of the bigger pieces is like the Louis L'Amour size that I try to emulate with my books, like this kind of writing, like more novella almost. I think that's going to become more popular because, as we talked about earlier, people are reading less time to do things, busy schedules. Just the attention spans are a little bit different. People love shorts, like YouTube shorts and reels and stuff, rather than full-on videos. So you might see like a resurgence of the genre, particularly because the way they're punchy, fast reads too. I think that it lends itself to where culture is heading. So I'm optimistic, but I do recognize that I'm in this giant echo chamber of men's adventure fiction. So I could be way off base here.
I don't think you're way off base. No, the more I see this on social media, the more, I mean, I'm in the Discord with a lot of you guys, and I've talked to a lot of you guys, and I'm hearing all these different names that I've never heard of before, and their titles of their books are being thrown across my desk, or I'm seeing their images pop up in the Discord feed, which, my gosh, the covers are insane. I mean, whoever's putting them together, any artist or any graphic designer puts these things together, my hats are off too, because people say don't judge the book by the cover, but the fact is we do.
Yeah, we do.
The cover doesn't grab me, I'm not going to grab your book, and I'm not going to want to read it. But with whether it's Luke's books, Nathaniel's book, what Nathaniel's doing, what Terrence, what you got going on with One Man's Treasure. I mean, heck, One Man's Treasure gave me Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, a little bit of Suits vibes to it, and I thought this could be really fun. And I've read most of it. It's really, really good so far. One Man's Treasure by Terrence Layhew. Check it out. It's on Amazon. And the other thing is, Amazon is such a wide net. It's so huge. It's hard to keep track of all of it. But there's some great works out there. It was a Terrence pointed me in the direction of indie author Eric P. Bishop, who does spy political thriller type stuff, and that looks really good.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's
The
so
Body Man, right? I think is his book.
The Body Man, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah, set in the White House, an agent that works within the White House, something like that. Secret Service, I think it is, something like
that. Yeah, if indie authors need like someone to study, that guy, I mean, he's crushing it. He's doing super, super well for himself. I love looking at success in the indie space and seeing how those indie authors are carving out that space for themselves. I think we'll see more of that, and we can all learn from each other and grow within the network together. So it's great. Study Eric Bishop.
Yeah, for sure. He's got to get great stuff right now. And Eric, I've emailed him to be a guest on Anti Quote in the future.
Nice.
So hopefully we'll get him on here. We'll talk some The
Heck
Bloody Man and talk some
Yeah.
political thrillers. Maybe some the little TikTok clock coming up. Previously on 24.
Yeah.
It's anybody remember that? You remember 24?
I didn't watch 24. I'm really bad with shows.
Dude.
I've seen almost zero
Dude.
shows, unfortunately.
Dude, here's the good news for you and for you who are watching or listening to this right now. All the seasons of 24, including the spinoff show 24 Legacy, are on Disney Plus right now. Hashtag not a sponsor.
They should be.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of should, sort of, kind of. But all of 24 is on there. So if you want to go back and discover something or rediscover something, check out 24. Dude, those early seasons, especially a lot of people say season 5 is the best season of them all, which I tend to agree with because of the twist that happens in the middle of the season or towards the end of it, of who's responsible for all the craziness that ensues in season 5. It's insane.
Nice.
So, and Kiefer Sutherland is a badass mamma
he's
jamma.
awesome.
So, yeah, he's been that way forever. I mean, honestly, the guy's been doing it for like what, 45 years?
Yeah,
Something like that. I mean, look at what was the film he was Stand By Me?
I was gonna say Stand By Me. He's the bully, right? Like he's
not only that, but he's in the Lost Boys. The King of the Vampires. In that one, he's in Flatliners with Julia Roberts. You remember that one?
I do remember Flatliners. Yep.
Yep, he's been in that. Sam Whitfield says, all the graphic design courses I never thought I'd use in college have been the ones I've used the most.
Oh, yeah.
How about that? Jim says, did you two talk about how men's adventure fiction was previously defined versus how Luke and the rest of the community might redefine it?
Jim, that's a tough question, Jim.
That's a tough one. Any thoughts on that, Luke?
Yeah, I think, we're all kind of like creating culture, right? And we're creating like what this is. And I think, it's an interesting question because when you look at what men's adventure fiction was and who it was marketed towards, I think that's where you'll see kind of some of the disparities. Like, Jim, you and I went to Paul Fest together and we saw that presentation where they were saying like this genre was huge with like Vietnam vets and like veterans who were coming back and they needed these stories to kind of like, process and cope with what they were doing. And that's who read the genre the most. And I'm not sure if that's true anymore. I feel like thrillers and like the Jack Carr stuff might be where veterans are like attached to. And now like men's adventure fiction kind of has a different audience. So I know at least the audiences seem to have shifted, and I don't know how or in what way it changes the definition. This is why, Jim, you asked 2 good questions, and we're gonna have to like deliberate this for a long while, I imagine, afterwards. But I do think he's onto something. It's got to have changed in some capacity, some manner, and that starts at least with the recognizing that there is a different population reading these things. There's a different crew of people looking for it. Because I think today's day and age, it's like young guys like myself or Nathaniel who are like, I want to be doing more with my life. I don't like sitting in a 4 walls all the time under these lights and just being stuck seated almost all my life. I don't like the sedentary lifestyle with the boring, safe job. Like people I think are craving more adventure this day and age, while the writer or the readers before were kind of coming back from war and they've had enough adventure. So it's interesting how like the genre has played 2 different roles for people.
Good points, man. You're just on fire today, honestly. Can we just have you as the host of this show? What do you need me for? No, I'm just it's all good fun. But no, that's very understandable. Yeah, things have changed from one era to the next. Modern day audiences may have a different definition of what men's adventure fiction is compared to what they did back in the heyday. So, and Pulp Fest is on my list of conventions/events I want to attend before I croak. It's on my bucket list. Let's just put it to you that way. A lot of our good friends and a network of people that we know of are going to be at Pulp Fest, which is located in Mars, Pennsylvania, which I never thought I would say this. There's a planet called Mars, but there's also a place called Mars in America, in Pennsylvania, no less. That is 4 hours and change away from where I'm sitting in my studio right now in the state of Maryland, whereas Luke is just two little hops and skips away, 40 minutes away in the great state of Pennsylvania where he is, because it's always sunny in Pennsylvania. So you see what I did there? You're welcome.
Yep.
So it's been, I look forward to going to that, and Luke brought up some good points. So people have a different definition of things, and that's okay. Sam says, also, just not to brag or anything, but I've had Eric P. Bishop on my podcast, not once, not twice, but 5. Count them 5 times since he started writing. I consider him to be one of my mentors of sorts. Well, Sam, does that makes me jello of you It really does. But hey, you beat me to the punch. But we'll have him on the show soon at some
Nice.
point. Eric, if you're watching, come on the show, man. Talk with us. We'll have it. You know what? Here's another thing too, and I'll say this. This is something that we're working on here in the backstage area of our studios. We are working on a brand new series, and it was brought up by David V. Mamina of Mamina Books and Games, who commented earlier in this show. Follow him on YouTube. He writes fantasy horror stuff.
Nice.
Fantasy horror writer. So check him out. He lives in the great state of New York, so check him out. He had an idea. He says, Ryan, what if we did a show, and we called it the Writer's Showcase, where we bring together all different kinds of writers, different genres, and they share with us the joys, the pains, the hardships, the good stuff about writing, and what advice they would give to other people about writing, and what their process is for their writing. And I said, you know what, David? I like it. I think it's a good idea. I think it's brilliant. And then when I joined the Men's Adventure Fiction Discord, I was like, you know what? This show could really take off, because if I start getting these passionate folk on set, Luke, it's going to go crazy, and we're going to have a really good time. So the Writer Showcase is going to drop on Saturday, March 15th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. David Mamina, hey, listen, David, it was your idea, brother, so you're going to be one of the first people we're going to have on the set. And Brina Williamson is going to be on with us. Let me see. I have the list here. Let's bring up the guest list here, Luke, because this is important.
Yeah, there's gonna be good stuff. I saw this kind of come together in the Discord too when you were building the list.
We were spitballing it. Yeah. So we have David V. Mamina is going to be on set. Frank T. from our Discord is going to be on set with us that day. And let's see. Brina is going to be on, and Grayson's going to be on.
Nice.
Too. I forget Grayson's last name though. I'm sorry.
I believe Sullivan.
Thank you. Grayson Sullivan. So yeah. Those people are coming, so fasten your seatbelts.
Yeah, it'll be a conversation. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, and Luke, Nathaniel are going to be tuning in and they're going to be texting me on my phone while my phone's off to the side of the studio and be like, "Why didn't you invite me?" Well, I'm like, dude, this is the first episode of many. We're not doing this as a one-off. This is going to be a continuing series of episodes. And Luke and Nathaniel and everyone else in our Discord server, right? And then people outside of the Discord are going to be invited to sit in on set. So
maybe Jim can come and ask some of those hard questions, and we can all ponder.
That's a fair point, Jim. If you want to be on the series with us of the Writer Showcase here on Anti-Quote Channel, send me a message on the. He's on Discord?
He's not on the Discord. He is an elusive figure. Not on Instagram. Not on Discord.
Wow.
I only know him in my real life. So he's an elusive one. We'll have to pin him down.
We'll have to pin him down. We'll have to find a way to contact him and get him on set. But yeah, no, it's coming, guys. And I got to tell you something. I just got a message this morning before I was here in the studio with Luke. And Luke, this is a little something for you too. Mm-hmm. My friend who puts together the backgrounds and thumbnails that you see before you here on our set, he just got a new program on his computer, and he's putting together new versions of the thumbnails that I showed previously in the Discord. So he gave me a new draft of what the thumbnail is going to be by using this different program. And I looked at it and I thought, oh my gosh, these colors are nice and bright. They're going to pop like crazy. So trust me when I tell you, when I dropped the marketing campaign for this upcoming series on our social media, which you can follow us. The links are located in the description. And then I'll send this to our people in the Discord too, Luke, so they can see it too. Dude, it looks so good.
That's
so
awesome.
you're gonna love it. I really think you're gonna love it. So stay tuned. The Writer Showcase is coming in the month of March, also known as March Madness. Yeah. Because we are the cream that rises to the top. Oh yeah, the cream of the crop. Sorry, that's a pro wrestling reference. Did you ever watch pro wrestling growing up?
Not too much, but I was always afraid of Sting because I had a Sting toy and he freaked me out horribly. But I have gotten into like some of those wrestling documentaries that have come out have been really good. Iron Claw, I believe it was called. Really good.
Iron Claw,
a lot of like wrestling media. I think Jim, speaking to him again, I think he watched pro wrestling, so I get some from him. Some of my friend Oni, they have been fans, so I get a lot of knowledge from WWE thrown at me. So I feel like I've heard a lot of references. I know exactly what that is. But I've never watched it myself, really. No.
Okay. Well, if you just type in classic Macho Man Randy Savage or Ric Flair promos, they're hilarious. You're going to love them for sure. Let's see here. Sam Whitfield says, if you like the TV series 24, Ryan, you're going to love my novella series, Shadows of Deception. It's my homage to the political spy thriller meets James Bond and 24. Sam, take all my money. Send me the links to where I can buy these books. I will add them to my Amazon wish list, okay? Send me the links, Sam. I mean this. Send them to me in a DM on the, what do you call it, the Discord, right? Or send them to me on Instagram, Sam. Just do it, man. I'm in. Jim says, it sounds like it used to be relatable to men who lived adventures similar to those, but now it's escapism when it comes to the men's adventure fiction genre.
And like wish fulfillment too, well, at least for me, like I want to read these to be like, oh, I want to go on an adventure, but right now I got to stay in the, the cubicle for lack of better terms and, sticking to the same kind of rhythm. I think, for me, it's a shakeup. I want to go on an adventure. It inspires me to want to like go out and live more. So yeah, good points.
Good point. Swordsman says, I'm hoping to head to Pulp Fest later this year in 2025. Yeah, I'm hoping to make it out too, man, because a lot of my good friends of mine who are indie writers outside of what Luke and Nathaniel have done are going to be there. Bobby Nash, John C. Bruning, Jim Beard, Charles F. Millhouse, who we'll talk more about here in a minute. But yeah, hoping to do that as well. And then Jim says, I'm a licensed therapist, so asking hard questions is my career. Wow. I did not know that about you, Jim. I'm learning new stuff here. He says, OMG, Macho Man quotes. I'm laughing out loud. Jim says, Macho Man squeezing the creamer cups in that promo. Cup of coffee, yeah. Cup of coffee in the big time, yeah. Because during that promo, Mean Gene Okerlund, who's, the man holding the microphone, Luke, he says, Macho Man Randy Savage, it's good to see you, but what is this? What's that cup for? This is a cup of coffee, man, for Tito Santa. Cup of coffee in the big time, yeah. And then he drops the coffee cup on the floor. He was very good at using little things, Luke, like props in his promos, and this dropping them on the floor or throwing them to the side. And Mean Gene tries to pick him up, and Macho Man says, put that thing down. Don't degrade the champion at any time. A man in my position cannot afford to look ridiculous. You understand that?
It's a great impression. That's my dad's favorite wrestler, and he was also in Spider-Man. So Randy Macho Man Savage is.
Don't you mean Bonesaw McGraw? Bonesaw is ready. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, that's my Macho Man laugh out loud. And then he says, Bobby Nash is awesome. Yes, he is. Bobby Nash is an awesome writer. Are you familiar with Bobby Nash, Luke?
You talked about him on the Discord chat we had the other day. Like you and I were in the that's my daughter.
I'm hearing munchkins in someone else's room.
But yeah, we were talking about him, and you got me really hyped to read his series. What is it? What is the series referred to?
Abraham. It's the Snow series. So Snow this, Snow that. It's Abraham Snow. It's about a PI who used to be a government agent. Now he's a private investigator working for his dad's private security firm.
You got me super excited to read those. So yeah, you taught me about that just recently. Nice. Snow Hunt. Sick.
Yeah.
I need to read those. Those are kind of like my next
get on it, man.
Read that, I guess. Yeah.
Get on it. It's great stuff. But yeah, he said he was awesome. And then he says that 80s cocaine with some of the wrestlers was something else. Yeah, it kind of was. It was the year of excess. And then Jim says, I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime. Yeah. There you go, Jim. I can't believe we're quoting Spider-Man. We're talking about men's adventure fiction.
I know.
And now we're talking about comic book movies. Just out of curiosity, though, which is your favorite comic book movie, Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire?
No, definitely not that. I like that one, but I don't think it'd be my favorite. That's tough. Not that I'm a huge comic book movie guy, so it's not like I'm thinking like, who. I'm trying. And it's not. It might be the Batman, which would also probably get me beat up. I love the Batman, the new one.
The Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, I thought it was so good. So maybe
I liked it.
I'm probably forgetting about one that I'm going to be like, oh, obviously this one.
Batman '89 from Tim Burton.
Does The Punisher count?
Well, The Punisher is not a Batman movie, but it is a comic book movie, yes.
Yeah, because if that counts, then it's Punisher, hands down, easy. I
think you mentioned something about, was it The Punisher with Thomas Jane?
Yeah, that's like my one of my favorite movies of all time. Yeah, top 5. So
I like that one.
If that counts, that counts.
No, it does. It does, but it's a comic book movie because it's a Marvel property. So yeah.
All right, nice. Then that's my answer.
I like Punisher from 2004 with Thomas Jane. That was a good one. Yeah. And by the way, the thing I like about men's adventure fiction or just fiction books in general, Luke, and maybe you would agree with me on this too. I love revenge stories.
Yeah,
I really like revenge. Do you like revenge stories? I think they're great.
Yeah, they're so just timeless. Count of Monte Cristo all the way to today. You gotta love to see a good revenge take place. It feels so good to see that kind of like poetic justice in a story written.
That was a decent movie too, The Count of Monte Cristo with Guy Pearce and Jim Caviezel.
Yeah,
I got to go back and rewatch that. I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, that's a good story. And Terrence Lehue was on the Men's Adventure Fiction podcast. We talked a bit about that, where it's funny that it was pulp back in its day, almost like it was a serialized story released, whether it was monthly or whatever. So it was kind of released in this pulp fashion. It was this adventure story, but now, it's considered high literature, so it's interesting where, again, back to kind of Jim's point of generations kind of redefine and change how we look at certain things.
Good points. So once again, we are here with Luke Goozdich on this episode of And I Quote. Do not forget to like and share this with everyone you know. If you're joining this live or on the replay, thank you for doing so. If you have any questions for Luke and why his opinions may or may not be correct, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. By the way, just to address something, because I'm a visual person, so Death in the Long Grass. What is that one all about? And then the one behind you with Fire in the Tall Grass, the one behind you with the sunsetty vibe to it. What are those two books about? Who wrote them?
Yeah, these two are inspirations for Fire in the Tall Grass. Death in the Long Grass is literally where I got the title from to try to like do an homage to this. Peter Hathaway Capstick, this guy right here, was a big game hunter, and this book is nonfiction about his kind of exploits hunting in Africa. And so, it says a big game hunter's adventures in the African bush is like what the little subtitle thing says. And it's wild. Like it's basically every chapter is just here's how another animal or a piece of wildlife or nature itself that will try to kill you if you're in Africa. Enjoy. And then this one is Wilbur Smith's When Lions Feed. Wilbur Smith's one of my favorite authors. He has this Courtney series, which spans from like the 20s to I forget what years they end up at, but you go generation after generation with this family. And this one really reminds me of like 1923 with Spencer Dutton. That's where I found this book. I was looking for things like Spencer Dutton's storyline. So you get these two brothers in Africa. You see them kind of growing up and then growing apart and becoming enemies. It says brothers by birth, enemies until death. So it's a great African adventure and obviously like a grand epic. And it's kind of a saga that goes generation after generation. Both those books played a heavy influence into Fire in the Tall Grass in some capacity of like these African adventures and that vibe, I guess, for lack of a more eloquent way to put that.
All right, more stuff I got to add to my Amazon wish list and more money that's going to be thrown into my wallet.
No problem.
Yeah, thanks. I was going to say, thanks a lot, Luke. You're ruining my financial career here.
All right.
Financial life, maybe? I don't know. I'm just kidding. Just out of curiosity, though, you mentioned Africa and the Congo. Have you ever seen the movie Congo? That was based off the
man.
Crichton
no, I
from back in
listened
the
to
day?
a lot. I listened to a lot of its soundtrack while I was writing Fire in the Tall. I have not seen the movie. I don't know if I should. I've heard really, really mixed things about that.
To me, it's so bad it's good.
Okay.
I like it. I like it a lot. Thanks. Can I have a grant? I like it a lot. See, here's the deal. Congo is not the greatest of all time, but it is a fun treasure hunter movie.
Okay.
In my opinion. Plus, you got Tim Curry looking for the
Yeah.
treasure. And Tim Curry's, there's a lot of great character actors in there. Ernie Hudson is in it from Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Tim Curry's in it. You got Laura Linney, which was one of her first acting gigs for Laura Linney, who plays the female agent who's trying to look for her ex-fiance in the jungles of the jungles of the Congo, who's missing. By the way, her ex-fiance is played by Bruce Campbell.
No way. Yeah.
A.K.A. Ash from Evil Dead. Yeah. So he's in it, by the way. Bruce Campbell's in it. And then who else is in it? Grant Heslov, who's a good character actor, is in it. And Joe Pantoliano from the Goonies, the Fratellis. He's in it.
Who's he in Goonies?
I have seen Goonies, yeah.
Who is he in Goonies?
He plays one of the Pertelli brothers, the crime family. He plays the short one with the wig.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, with the glasses. You know who I'm talking about?
I don't remember that, but it's funny that all these guys are in this one movie. The Congo. I gotta see this movie now.
Check it out. And one of the lead characters, Dylan Walsh, he was in Nip Tuck, the TV series.
I've heard
Nip
that.
Tuck.
Yeah.
Well, he's in it. So let's see. Swordsman says Bruce Campbell was also Sam Axe in Burn Notice. Yes. Yes, he was. And Burn Notice is a great spy thriller comedy series. Look it up. It's on Disney Plus. # not a flippant sponsor of this show, but all the blue labeled USA shows like White Collar and Burn Notice and some of the other ones. Graceland is about undercover agents. That was a really good series. It only lasted 3 seasons though, but it was great. So if you're into that sort of stuff, go on Disney Plus, stream all of it. Luke has a lot of homework to do after this show.
Yeah, seriously.
He's got some streaming to do. Let the kids play outside, whatever. But sit down and watch these crime dramas because they are gosh darn freaking good, man.
Awesome.
So I'm just saying. Anyway, thank you for the info about those 2 books because I wasn't sure what those 2 books were behind you there. But outside of that, I do want to take this opportunity to thank Luke Goodish for being our guest on this incredible, epic, adventurous, dare I say, episode of And I Quote. Luke, it has been an honor and a pleasure having you here. You're more than welcome to come back any place, anytime, anywhere. You're going to be featured on what is known as the Writer's Showcase in the next few months here on set. Don't worry, we'll get your partner in crime, Nathaniel, on here too. He's invited to have a seat at the table like everyone else. Is Covert Affairs with female action star Pepper Purbo? Is that on Disney Plus too? Not that I have seen Swordsman, but I might be wrong. I don't know if they added it recently or maybe coming soon. But if it's not on there, I haven't seen it on there personally. But they need to add that because Covert Affairs is great. It's about the latest recruit to the CIA. She's a girl. She has a girl next door look to her, and then she joins the CIA because of a past unfortunate situation that she was in. She's trying to get over it. She wants to move on with her life, right? So she joins the CIA, and she makes a huge impact. So Check out Covert Affairs on streaming services. I don't know if it's on Disney Plus as of yet, but if it's not, it should be. Listen to what I'm saying. Covert Affairs with Pepper Purabo, one of the most beautiful and talented female actresses in the world. To give you an idea of who she is, Luke, Piper Purabo was in the movies, The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle live-action CGI animated film. She was also in Coyote Ugly.
Okay, yeah. I know Coyote Ugly.
The bar, the barmaid movie. Hello. Yeah. So she was the lead actor. She was basically the starving musician. She was the lead character in Coyote Ugly. She was a blonde girl. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I vaguely, I remember that movie for sure. But it's been since like high school, so not well.
Okay, that's all right.
It's just same with the Goonies brother. Like I'm going to look up both those guys.
You're going to have to look up both of these actors. Swordsman says Pepper Purabo. Yes, yeah. We thought she was quite beautiful too. I'm just going to leave it at that. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm getting off the beaten path here. Luke, if someone wants to know more about you and the great things you're doing over there, whether it's your books, the podcast, where can they follow you?
Yeah, so the podcast, you can find it on YouTube or Spotify or Apple, wherever. Just Men's Adventure Fiction Podcast. And then LS_author there is my Instagram. That's where I'm most active, and you can message me at any time, and I'll try to get back to you there, and we'll chat. And if not, enter the Discord. The link is in every single YouTube video I'm sure the Spotify and all the other stuff for the podcast. If you click join the Discord link, you can get in there and we'll chat. I answer in the threads, and I go to the voice chat a lot of times as well to just talk with people. So if you want to connect, any of those places will do. Instagram, the comments in the podcast, or the Discord itself. Maybe be happy to meet another fan of this genre. It's what I love.
Rock on, man. Well, thank you, sir, for being here. I'm going to talk to you again here momentarily. So stick, in the words of Arnold from Commando, stick around. My name is Ryan of Anna Coach. I think you saw Commando, didn't you? If you haven't, you got to watch Commando. It's one of the best action movies of all time. My name is Ryan of Anna Coach Channel. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram specifically at RyanRPM5. Check us out across all forms of social media, simply at And I Quote Channel. Links to where you can follow Luke and myself are down in the description of this video, so check those out. Also, we are on the road to 5,000 subscribers. Once we do, we will throw a great big live stream that will include returning favorites and special guests and special giveaways, that you, our incredible viewers / subscribers, are going to be eligible to win. Also, we got merch, Luke. We got merch. We got shirts. We have hoodies. We got stickers you can add to your water bottles. We got coffee mugs, because I know you like to drink tea or coffee in the mornings or the afternoons. So we got coffee mugs. We got throw pillows. We got sheets. What do you call them? Fleece blankets, stuff like that. Shower curtains or something. We got hats, Luke. And I know how much you're obsessed with wearing good-looking hats. So we got all that stuff and more. It's located in my link tree down below. It's also located on our Instagram page. Links are in our social media bios, respectively. So check those out. Goodness gracious, we're having way too much fun here, I got to tell you. But it's been a blast nonetheless. Am I right, folks? But this has been a great episode. Thank you to everyone who has tuned in live or on the replay. Don't forget to like and share this. So thank you all for being here. And I Quotes on Saturdays, 12 p.m. EST. Our other shows such as Meeting a Fandom and Movie Watch-Alongs are going to be on Friday, 7 p.m. EST. The Writer Showcase is coming very, very soon. It's going to drop on Saturday, March 15th, 7 p.m. EST. So join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. Once again, thank you so much for your support. Do not forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when the videos go up or they go live. Remember, life is better when supporting indie creators from all over the world. Take a look.
Choose high-flying action. Choose death-defying escapes. Choose spine-tingling thrills. Choose nail-biting intrigue. Now's your chance to choose the adventure. The Captain Hawkland Adventures. Available on Amazon.com. You've worked hard and written a great book. Now, it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasmafire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasmafire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
Good morning! Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.